In this video, I'm going to build an underground treasure room for Minecraft's rarest items. I've been playing in this hardcore world for nearly 2,000 days, yet all of my goodies are hidden away in a random barrel inside of my starter house. So it's about time we make a dedicated spot for all of our music discs, armor trims, mob heads, and other collectibles. And I think the best place to put this thing is going to be in the castle we built a few episodes ago. This is easily one of my favorite builds in our entire world, and I'd love to have more reasons to visit it. And I kind of forgot how big this castle is, so I've been thinking quite a bit about where I want the actual entrance to the treasure room to be, and I'm thinking up here in the keep is going to be the perfect spot. So we can just hop through these double doors right here into this totally finished interior. Yeah, this is still a work in progress. But anyway, we can probably do like a spiral staircase right here going all the way down, and then that's where the entrance will be. Even the staircase itself though is going to have to be pretty big, so I think our best bet is to set up a beacon just to speed up the digging process a little bit. So let's just dig straight down and hope we don't fall into any lava. This should be low enough, so let's dig out a bit of a spot for the actual beacon, and look at this, there's a bit of a cave too, so this should speed up the process a little bit. I think that should be good enough, so next up, let's place down all of our blocks of iron. Got ourselves a fancy pyramid made out of iron now, so let's throw our beacon right on top. I think the roof of the castle though is blocking the beacon from seeing the sky, so let's see, can we, oh wow, that was actually perfect, wow. Yeah, I was gonna say, let's see if we can break a block of the roof, and then I think we should be good. Let's see, it should be this one right here, I think? That is very bright, but the beacon beam is here, so that's a very good sign. Let's head back down. Back down at the bottom, let's head over to our actual beacon, throw an iron ingot in there, and then we can get ourselves the haste to effect. Now that that's set up, we should be able to dig super duper fast, so let's get to work on digging out the staircase. I got the whole base shape of the staircase dug out now, so let's go back and place down some actual stairs just to make it, a little bit easier to get up and down. And I think I'm fine with this staircase being pretty basic, but maybe just to spice it up a little bit, we can add a tiny bit of texture variation using some stone bricks, as well as some cobblestone. I went ahead and got the entire staircase textured up, definitely not the biggest change in the world, but I think it does look better than just the basic stone. There is a couple more details I want to add though, but for those we're going to need to grab some materials. So first up, let's take a little pit stop over at our lumber mill where we have all of our wood storage. And the wood I'm after this time is some mangrove, please. Please tell me I have some mangrove. I was looking for logs so we can make some of the new shelves, but I already have some in here, so I'll just grab these. And then the other thing I wanted to use was some trapdoors, so let's grab those planks, head over to our crafting table, and make up a bunch of them. A little bit dark out now, but that's fine. Let's swing over to our starter house next. I'm on the hunt for some levers. Let's check my redstone chest. Any levers? I have 3. Okay, I'm gonna need a few more than that, so let's head upstairs. Do I have any sticks in here? I do, I'll grab some of those. And then we can of course just combine those with some cobblestone to make more levers. One of the other things I want to use is a bunch of candles, and perfect, I already have a bunch of string. Let's check our wax supply. I have 9. I think I'm gonna need a little bit more than that, so let's head over to our greenhouse here where I have a bit of a bee farm. Give me some wax, please. Thank you very much. And now that we have both wax and string, we can make a bunch of candles. However, I don't just want to use some regular boring old candles, so let's head into our secret storage room and grab some dye. And I'm thinking for this one we can use some green dye, so let's see. Okay, I have a bunch of this stuff. So we can just throw that in here, do our candles, and boom, 27 green candles. That should be everything though, so let's head back over to the castle. Back at the castle, let's first use these mangrove shelves to make a railing around the stairs. And my original plan was to include some of the trapdoors as well, but I did end up finding more mangrove inside of our starter house, so I think I'm going to use just the shelves. Anyway, I think that looks pretty good for a railing, so let's move on to adding our candles. And I already have a torch here, so let's get rid of that, place down a temporary dirt block, and then we can probably do like 3 candles I'm thinking. But let's light this bad boy up with some flint and steel, and then we can get rid of the dirt. And then to make it look supported, let's do a lever, and I think that is such a cool design. Anyway, there's a decent amount of these that I want to place in, so let me get these all in place, and then I'll show you what it's looking like. Alright, this should be the last one right here, there we go. With that, the entry point to our treasure room is complete. It's nicely textured, there's lighting, all of that good stuff, so I think it's about time to get started on digging out a massive area for the actual treasure room over in this area. I've built my fair share of these kind of underground type of builds, but I'm pretty sure this one takes the cake as being the biggest of them all. And even with being able to insta-mine, it still took me over 2.5 hours to mine the whole thing out. Alright, that was way bigger of a grind than I thought it was going to be, but the whole thing's cleared out now. It is like a little bit rough around the edges still, but we'll get this all patched up and looking a whole lot better super soon. As you can see though, we got a bunch of shulker boxes full of stone and cobblestone, and I mean, this is probably only like a quarter of it anyways. I let so much of it despawn, but I just couldn't be bothered to pick it all up. As you can see from my hotbar though, I went through all of our pickaxes. Like, these don't have any durability left at all, so I think it's about time to head over to our XP farm to repair everything. So let's first head into the nether, and then we can make our way over to our stronghold portal. Boom, nailed it. And then let's be smart and set our respawn point here and then head through the end portal. And this place looks awesome with shaders on. I don't usually play with shaders on, but I don't know, I kind of felt like it today, so I am. But okay, let me lock in here and land on the bridge. Boom, nailed it again. Okay, but now that we're here, let's throw our pickaxe in our offhand, punch these endermen, or I should say, you know, hit them with our sword, and repair all of our gear. I also really need to add a thing that just shoots these pearls into the void, because look at my inventory right now, it's just full of the ender pearls. Real talk, I'll probably procrastinate doing that for like 6 months, but you know what, that's fine. Oh, I just dropped my pickaxe. No, give me my pick back, please. Give me my pick back. Okay, there we go. What are you doing out here? How did you get here, Enderman? Tell me how. If you're not gonna say anything, then goodbye. Alright, all of our pickaxes have been repaired, so let's just quickly yeet all of these pearls into the void manually. Why are they getting back in my inventory? Go away. Alright, we should be good to go though. Let's head back to the overworld. And can I nail this? Can I nail it? Yes, I nailed it. And because we were smart, we respawned right where our bed is, so we can grab that, head back to our portal. And because we're a 67 IQ player and set up all of our portals on the roof, it is super easy to head back to our base, so just gotta hop through here and then we should be good. Okay, completely unrelated note, I've been sleeping less in my world, and it's just so cool seeing all of our builds in the dark because I usually don't see it like this. However, I am noticing we gotta add more lights to some of our builds. Like over here, that's pretty good, but over on this side, yeah, that is... Oh my goodness, what? Yeah, see, I'm telling you, I've been sleeping less. There's phantoms. Get out of here. Come on, phantoms. I have full netherite. You can't do anything. Anyway, I think my main point is that as we continue to play in this world, I definitely want to add more lights to our builds so we can, you know, sleep less, but it'll still be safe. And before we get to work on our treasure room, there's just one thing I quickly want to do. One of the things I want to display inside of our treasure room is mob heads, and to get those, I think you need charged creepers, and to get a charged creeper, you gotta use a trident. Not just any trident though, we gotta get channeling on this bad boy so we can strike the creeper with lightning to turn it into a charged creeper. And I already have a bunch of levels, so let's try enchanting it. Guess I'm gonna need some lapis though. Where's my lapis at? Not there. It is. Okay, it's right here. It's actually been so long since I've enchanted something, I feel like I just have like all the gear that I need and I don't really have to bother with it too much. Anyway, this is just Unbreaking 3, but we can lock it in. Maybe we can get something else. Loyalty 3, not what we're looking for. Okay, no worries, we still have 49 levels, so let's put this through our grindstone and give it another shot. Come on, channeling, please. That is Riptide, that is not what we want. Maybe I'll just save XP, I'll do the lowest one here. We can go back to our grindstone, throw that in there, unenchant it, come back to here. Come on, come on. Bruh. Let's give this yet another try. Unbreaking 3 again. Okay, maybe. Okay, sweet, we got it. Channeling, Loyalty 3, and Unbreaking 3. I honestly never use tridents. I'm not even sure if there's anything else that this is missing besides mending. I just looked it up, and I guess I'm missing impaling, but I do have a second trident here, so maybe we can get impaling on that one and then combine the two to make the perfect trident. So let's see, can we get lucky first try? Impaling, Loyalty 3, that is not what we want, but maybe we can get it too? Aw, come on, Impaling 4, you could have just given me Impaling 5, like, come on, don't be stingy. You know what, Impaling 4 is fine for the time being. Let's combine these two. It's gonna be cheaper this way. It is not. Okay, let's go like that. 22 levels, we'll combine that, and there we go. Channeling, Impaling 4, Loyalty 3, and Unbreaking 3. Let's lock it in. However, I do still want to add mending to this thing. Do I have a mending book in here? I don't. No worries, that gives us an excuse to head over to our villager trading hall and check in on our villagers. Where is our mending villager? I think it's this guy right here, right? It sure is. Let's grab one of those. Thank you very much. And you know what? While we're here, we might as well talk to our Mr. Farmer guy and buy more golden carrots, since this is kind of my only food source. And I'm a little bit worried that this is going to be quite expensive to add to our trident, but let's take a look. No way, only 3 levels to add mending? That is not bad at all. Let's lock that in right now. And I guess I should have enchanted this thing before heading to our XP farm because it's pretty low on durability, so I'm going to quickly go back and repair this thing. And just like that, it is fully repaired. Now that our trident is fully enchanted and repaired though, let's head over to our chicken coop and try this thing out. Why my chicken coop, you might ask? I don't know. I feel kind of bad now. At least we got an advancement though, kind of gaming. Okay, jokes aside, all we gotta do now is wait for a thunderstorm so that we can use the channeling enchant on this bad boy to strike a creeper with lightning, and then hopefully we can get some mob heads for our treasure room. It's good that we're prepared though, so that when the thunderstorm actually comes, we'll be ready. But you know what, all of our pickaxes are repaired, you know, we're good to go, so let's get back to work on this treasure room. And the next thing I want to get started on is patching up all of these walls because they look pretty ugly right now. As you can see from my inventory, I already got a lot of blocks ready to go, like tough bricks, regular tough, and cobblestone. It is a little bit lonely down here though, you know, in this big stone box, so just to keep us company while we build, I want to try making my first ever copper golems. I think we just gotta do a copper block and a pumpkin on top. And then what? We just gotta shear this, right? Yes, look at that, copper golem, so cool. Yeah, I don't know what you're looking for. There's not really any chests to put items away in, but you can just hang out. And you know what? He looks kind of lonely. Let's make a few more of these guys. Maybe just 3 more here. Boom, boom, and boom. Oh yeah, copper golems. Wait, where did these seeds come from? What? Oh, from the pumpkin. I'm tripping. Now that we have some super cool copper golem friends, let's get to work on these walls. And I think I just want to start off with like the tough bricks kind of at the bottom, and then we can do the regular tough, and then we'll work that into some of the cobble. Super simple design, but I quite like that gradient. I think I'm just going to go ahead and build another one of these columns right beside it, and then in between them we can do some upside down stairs to create a bit of an arch. Still got to get like the back of this filled in as well as like up here and everything, but I think for the overall kind of shape and design of this archway, I'm happy with it. Now that we have this design figured out though, I want to go ahead and repeat it for all of these different compartments kind of going around the entire treasure room, so you know what, let's get to it. There we go, I think that's looking a whole lot better, and it's quite a bit easier to see where the actual sections are now. You know what though, this beacon beam right in the center of our treasure room is kinda starting to drive me a little bit crazy, so let's get rid of it. Plus, I'm pretty sure we have all the space cleared out that we need to anyway, so it's about time. Also, let me patch up this hole in the roof of our castle, or I will 100% forget. Also, these copper golems just hate me and decided to come upstairs. They don't want to hang out with me down here. I'm kinda depressed. Anyway, now that that beacon beam is out of the way, I want to get started on the floor, and I'm thinking we can go for just like a super simple design of polished andesite mixed with regular andesite, so I'm going to go ahead and get this all placed in. And there we go, I got the floor all in place. I did leave a big spot over here open, as well as the same thing on this side right here, and that's because I want to add some large rugs later, but we'll get to that after. For now, I think I want to tackle this staircase right here. It's looking pretty blocky right now, so let's fix that. And maybe we can make it look a little bit fancier by doing some polished andesite on the edges, and then in the middle, we'll just do our regular stone. And there we go, that's looking pretty good. While we're down here though, I did want to create a few more arches since we do have some at the top, but these ones will be a little bit smaller, just a couple of stairs and a slab. And we can probably just use regular stone mixed with the andesite, you know, just for a bit of texture variation. It looks a little bit cursed right now because it's a little bit, you know, unfinished, but just trust the process. In the end, I think it'll be looking good. In order to keep working on this thing though, we're going to need more materials, so let's go grab them. And I feel like watching me dig through a bunch of chests isn't the most interesting thing in the entire world, so while you watch me do that, let's do a bit of Minecraft trivia. Let's start off with an easy question first. What enchantment allows you to mine blocks faster underwater? Is it A, Aqua Infinity, B, Respiration, or C, Depth Strider? Think about it, lock in your answer. Okay, here we go. The answer, A, Aqua Infinity. Okay, question 2, let's make this one a little bit harder. What year did Minecraft Pocket Edition come out? Was it A, 2010, B, 2011, or C, 2012? I'll give you a few seconds to think about it, lock in your answer, and the answer, B, 2011. Let's do one more question. Question number 3, which flower can you use to breed rabbits? Is it A, poppies, B, cornflowers, or C, dandelions? Lock in your answer, the answer, C, dandelions. Let me know how many questions you got right, and if you lie to me, I will haunt you in your sleep. Okay, seriously though, I was pretty productive during that little trivia session. We now have 7 shulker boxes worth of materials that we can use to keep building this treasure room. However, there's still more stuff I gotta grab. This was just what I had like in my storage rooms already. I still gotta go out into the world and gather even more materials. For example, I need 2 stacks of item frames, so first things first, let's gather up all of this wheat. And then with a bunch of wheat in hand, we can do one of my favorite activities of all time, which is of course, breeding the cows. I'll probably try to breed these guys like 1 or 2 more times though before, slaughtering them for all of their leather, so in the meantime, let's keep gathering more materials. Next up, let's take a little pit stop at our iron farm here inside of Golem's Harbor. Just gotta come right through this door, hop down into this trapdoor, and then this is where the collection system is. Fingers crossed it's not completely overflowing. Come on, moment of truth. Okay, not bad. I'll grab a bunch of this iron, and how's this other chest here? This is where all the poppies are. Oh my goodness, it's broken. It is broken. I can't with this iron farm. You know what? Oh my goodness, wait, I have so much iron in here. What? Okay, you know what? I'm getting distracted. I'm gonna fix that later. Let's carry on. My plan for this iron though is to trade it with some villagers. So let's swing by our villager trading hall once again. Of course though, just gotta turn these blocks of iron into iron ingots. And then come over here, Mr. Villager. I will take some emeralds. Thank you very much. You as well, please. Give me some more emeralds. Thank you. And same thing for all of you guys. I just need as many emeralds as possible. And then I want to trade these emeralds for a bunch of bookshelves. However, it's not the actual bookshelves that I'm after, it's the books that you can get from them, so let's just quickly break these down. I got over a stack of books. I think that should be plenty. Something else we're gonna need is a bunch of deep slate, but before we go down underground and grab that stuff, let's breed the cows once again. Cows have been bred, so let's head into our mine entrance. This lever right here turns on a beacon down there, and let's head down. And I don't really need a whole lot of this stuff, I think only like 5 stacks, so this should only take me a few minutes. That was easy enough. However, I don't just want this to be regular old deep slate, I want to turn it into polished deep slate, but we can do that right now, don't even need a crafting table. That's all we should need from down here for the time being though, so let's head back up to the surface. Gotta remember to turn our beacon off though, boop. Okay, next let's hop down into our secret storage room once again. And what I'm after this time is a bunch of terracotta. Hopefully I have some. Okay, I do. I'm gonna grab literally as much as I can. Okay, maybe not that much. I'll put like 2 stacks back. I don't want this to be regular terracotta though, so let's head upstairs and grab some dye. So 7 stacks of this stuff I want to be black terracotta, and I think I have, yeah, okay, I have a bunch of wither roses in here that we can use for dye. So let's head over to our crafting table, turn all of this into dye, and then we can go boom, and then we'll do black terracotta. I don't need that much though. I think if I do like that, is that gonna give me 7 stacks, maybe? Yeah, wait, it did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Nice. My inventory is a disaster right now though, so let me throw these books in here for now, as well as this deep slate. And I want this black terracotta to actually be glazed terracotta, so let's grab a bunch of coal. And then we can swing by our blacksmith, because in the basement we have our super smelter. So let's just throw all of the black terracotta into this top chest right here. Look at that, it's getting loaded up super duper fast. And then our fuel, which is of course our coal, needs to go into this chest. And then all we gotta do is flick this lever and watch it do its thing. I feel like I'm all over the place right now, but that just reminded me that there's something else that I wanted to smelt, so let's head back down into our secret storage room for yet another time. And that's because I want to smelt down a bunch of copper, so let's grab, okay, hopefully this will be enough here. Okay, back at our super smelter though, we can turn these blocks of raw copper into the actual just like regular raw copper, and then I'll throw that all into the input chest as well. And maybe I'll just add a little bit more fuel just in case. As for the rest of the terracotta that we have in our inventory, I want to turn it into gray terracotta, so let's head upstairs again and try to make some of that dye. And I'm not sure what the best way to make this stuff is. Can't you turn these into gray dye? I guess there's only one way to find out. Azure Bluets, do you give gray dye? That is like gray dye, not what we're after. Okay, let me just look it up. Gray dye, how can you make this stuff? With black and white dye, or with these eye blossoms, okay. I guess we'll try combining the white and the black dyes together, so let's grab more of these wither roses, and then I'll come over to here and grab a bunch of these bones. We can then make a bunch more black dye, and then turn the bones into bone meal, and then we can turn the bone meal into, yeah, white dye. And then finally, we can make a bunch of this gray dye. And then I need to convert all of this terracotta, so hopefully this is going to be enough dye, and it is. Okay, nice. Okay, sweet. That's another material that we can cross off the list, so let's throw it into the shulker box as well. Something else I forgot to craft while we were doing our trivia was some armor stands, so let's head down here once again and first grab some of this smooth stone. We can then turn that into a bunch of slabs, and then over at our lumber mill again, let's grab some of these logs, head over to our crafting table and turn those into planks, and then we can make ourselves a bunch of sticks, and then last but not least, make a bunch of armor stands. I have never had so many armor stands inside of my inventory. I don't even have space for these inside of the shulker. Okay, that's fine. I should have more inside of my ender chest. I do. Let's grab one of these, place that down, and put the armor stands in here. It's been a little while though since we started smelting all of this stuff, so let's head down to our super smelter and check, and okay, it looks like everything is ready, and yeah, okay, there we go. Got ourselves a bunch of black glazed terracotta and a bunch of these copper ingots. Don't need to do anything with the terracotta, of course, but as for the copper, I want to turn these all into trapdoors. I'm pretty sure I need 3.5 stacks of these trapdoors though, and I don't even have 2 right now, so that's going to be a bit of an issue. I might have a few though in storage already. Let's take a look. Okay, I have 34 there, so that gets us to a little over 2 stacks. That's good. And then let's see, do I have any more copper we can smelt? I actually do have a lot. Okay, let's grab this. Mr. Zombie, can't you tell I'm locked in on this material gathering right now? Like, dude, come on. Hey, Asteroid Destroyer, do we need to have a talk? I kind of need you to guard our house a little bit better, alright? Okay, I'm getting distracted though. Let's do one more smelting session of this new copper that we just grabbed, and then we should be good. In the meantime, let's go check in on our cows again. I'll just quickly breed them one last time because, you know, why not? And then I'm really hoping, oh my goodness, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, I was trying to say, oh no, I'm getting the sheep too, dude, why am I so bad at this game? I'm trying to say, oh, okay, wait, what am I, okay, wait, just take a second here. What I'm trying to say is that I'm really hoping we can get 2 stacks of leather, but I'm not sure if this is going to be enough cows. Oh man, I just killed all of the cows on accident except for one, so now I can't even breed these guys in the future. And to make matters worse, I only got a little over a stack of leather when I wanted 2 stacks, so we're kind of screwed here. Let me try to quickly find a cow so we can repopulate our barn. Hopefully there'll be some just over here in this grassy area. And there we go, there's one right here. This might go poorly, but I'm gonna try to lead this guy and then just fly with my rocket. Are you with me, cow? He's not. Okay, whatever. I'm not that far away. I'm just gonna bring him over the old-fashioned way. Are you still with me, cow? Okay, we're looking good. Okay, we now have 2 of these guys in here. Why is he sniffing his butt? That was kind of weird. Okay, but yeah, we now have 2 of these guys, so we can breed them and, you know, bring our cow population up again. I don't really feel like waiting around to breed these guys again, though, so I think I'm just gonna fly around and hunt down some cows, as I think it'll be faster. Already got our first victim. Goodbye. Same goes to you. Goodbye. Yo, cow. Hey, you know what else gives leather? Nah, I'm not gonna do it. Come on, cows, I just need 2 stacks of leather, that's all. It's so weird how mobs always go to like the tops of hills. Like, look at the top of this hill, there's so many mobs up here, what the heck? So many mobs, yet only like 1 cow, are you serious? Okay, fine, there's 2 cows. We just need 4 more leather, and there's 2 cows here, so come on, dude, give me some leather, thank you. Okay, just 1 more, surely this cow gives us some leather, right? Come on. Okay, there we go, 2 stacks perfectly, let's go. And now that we have this leather, we can finally make the 2 stacks of item frames that we need. With that taken care of, let's quickly grab our second batch of copper, and then we can make the rest of the trapdoors that we need. Quickly just throw this into a shulker box to, you know, stay organized. But with that, there's just 1 more block that we need to get. And unfortunately, the last block that I saved for ourselves is probably going to be the most tedious, as we need 9 stacks of glowstone. I'm pretty sure you can barter gold with piglins to get glowstone, but I don't have that much gold, and I also don't have a bartering farm, so I'm just gonna go with the old school way of getting it from the nether straight up. So gotta leave the safety of our nether roof and, you know, head into the actual nether. Let's just quickly game though. Boom. Is that a music disc for our treasure room that I see? Nice. Okay, I'm getting distracted though. That's what we're on the hunt for. Dude. Okay, I know I joke around a lot and stuff, but I actually just had a heart attack. Like I can't breathe. I'm not even kidding, my life just flashed before my eyes. Why did that do so much damage? It was this guy here, right? Yeah, what is this sword that he has? Oh, I might have been okay because I have a totem, but we almost just died. Okay, that was a good reminder as to why we should have a chest plate in our hotbar, and, you know, probably should be wearing gold in the nether, but you know what? That's okay. Okay, I was not expecting that. Let's lock in, try to get this glowstone. And as I mentioned, we need 9 stacks of this stuff, so hopefully it's not going to take, you know, a million years, but anyways, I'm going to lock in and mine up a bunch of it. That actually didn't take too terribly long, only about half an hour, but as you can see, we now have a little over 9 stacks of glowstone. And that should be all we need, so let's head back home. Back in our treasure room, let's add these final materials we just gathered to our shulker monster over here. Maybe just throw our glowstone in this one for now, but I think we're finally ready to get to building. And maybe let's just begin with our gray terracotta, so let's grab all of that. And then my plan is to use this stuff to fill in these kind of like back sections in between all of these archways. Should be, you know, pretty straightforward to get in place, so let's do that right now. Here's a look at the first one all filled in. Looks pretty good, I think, so let's just go ahead and fill in the rest of these like 15 sections. I got all of those filled in that I wanted to, and I think I'm happy with it now. You probably noticed though that I left quite a few gaps, and that's because I want to fill these in with some glowstone. Something just like that, but I want to cover this up with a painting, so let's try to do, I don't want that one, I want the other one, yeah, this one. Adds a bit of color from the painting, but also adds some lighting with the actual glowstone. Anyway, let's get the rest of these filled in and, you know, add more paintings as well. This side is looking pretty good, so let's repeat more or less the same design over on this side too. And there we go, this side is looking good now too, pretty much the exact same design as over there, just minus that row of glowstone at the bottom. And unfortunately, there's only 2 different paintings in this size, so I had to kind of repeat it a few different times, but I think that's okay. I also left a small gap at the bottom of these sections beside the main staircase, so let's add yet another row of glowstone, and above that we can do some upside down spruce stairs to create a bit of like a table or a counter. And then hiding behind our massive shulker monster is even more of these gaps, so once again, more glowstone and more stairs. Moving right along, I want to fill in this gap above the archways next. So first things first, let's just use a bit of scaffolding to get ourselves up there. And then I think we can keep it super simple by doing a row of dark oak planks, and then above that, a row of dark oak logs. Can't get much more complicated than that, so let's get this design wrapped all the way around the entire treasure room. And now that we have that nice looking trim in place, the next thing I want to get started on is the actual ceiling. We're going to need quite a few materials for it though, like more glowstone, a bunch of these copper trapdoors, and all of this glazed terracotta. And that's not even all, we're also going to need all of this deep slate, 2 entire stacks of smithing tables, kinda crazy, as well as these dark oak trapdoors and these dark oak slabs. And last but not least, some polished deep slate stairs. You know what though, this is probably going to be pretty tricky to build, so just to make our lives a tad bit easier, let's make a bit more scaffolding. But with that, we had everything that we needed, so I went ahead and built up what is easily one of the most complicated ceiling designs that I've ever come up with. I gotta get rid of the scaffolding so we can see it properly, but I think we might have cooked here. Also, breaking scaffolding like this easily has to be like top 10 most satisfying things in the game. The scaffolding has all been cleared away, ready for the big reveal. Boom. This thing looks insane. I am so happy with how this came out. We have like the glazed terracotta up there. This kind of reddish brown color is actually the bottom of these smithing tables. Like if I was to place one just right here so I can kind of show you, it's this texture right here. Also, it feels so weird to me that you can't break this like super fast with the pickaxe. It's actually the axe you have to break it with. I don't know, that's just, it doesn't feel right. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. I really do love like all the light this has brought into the build though, definitely a big improvement. Also, there is a ring of our trapdoors up here, but they aren't waxed, so eventually they will age down into that greenish kind of blue color. Anyway, that'll happen over time. For now, let's keep building. And I want to keep adding more light into the build, so let's just do a few scaffolding right here, get ourselves on top, and then we can do trapdoor and trapdoor. And then right below that, let's do a couple of chains on each side, and then right below the chains, we can do some lanterns. Super straightforward design, but I like it, so let's repeat it in front of all of these columns. So bing bing, boom boom, bing bang, bing bong. I got that in place on both sides and it's looking pretty good now. I'm not done yet though, as I want to keep adding even more lighting, so let's do a few more scaffolding right here and then just do a simple lantern right at the top. And I'll do the same thing right over here, so a few scaffolding just so I can reach, and then boop, a lantern. As for these 3 sections right here, they're quite a bit bigger, so I want to go for some different type of lighting. Anyway, let's start with maybe this one right here. Just like before though, gotta do a few scaffolding so we can actually reach. Let's come in 1, 2, 3, and 4 blocks, and then we'll do a grindstone. And then right below that, an acacia fence, a copper chain, and a copper lantern. I think that's a pretty nice design for some lighting, especially because the copper and the acacia blend together perfectly. And you know what? I like that one so much, I'm gonna repeat it in this section right here. So another grindstone, another fence, a chain, and a lantern. Now that that's in place, I want to get to work on adding some lighting in this largest section right here in the center. This one's going to be pretty similar, but I kind of want to go for more of like a chandelier design, so let's do more fences going off in each direction. And then just like before, we can do a chain underneath all of those, and underneath of the chains, more lanterns. And check it out, I think that definitely gives the vibe of a chandelier, so I'm happy with it. Moving right along, let's finally tackle these large gaps in the floor. I think I already mentioned that I wanted to do some rugs here, and that's still the plan, so let's start off with a ring out of blue concrete powder. Next up, we gotta fill in the rest of the space with torches. Maybe it doesn't make too much sense right now, but just trust the process. Let's just ignore how insane that looks and cover these all up with some carpet. If you didn't know, there's certain blocks in Minecraft that light can travel through, and carpet is one of those, so if we hide this under here, it's actually really gonna help light up this kind of central area of the treasure room. Alright, there we go, this is the last carpet right there, and yeah, nice rug design. And since we have some hidden lighting under there, we can finally get rid of some of these temporary torches. Pretty happy with how that turned out though, so let's repeat the exact same design over on this side of the treasure room too. And there we go, we now have a big blue rug over here, and the same thing over on this side. Another block that light can shine through is composters, so let's create an indoor plant using one of those and some acacia leaves. And I mean, our treasure room is a perfect square, so we might as well just put one of these in each of the corners. This is the last one right there, and yeah, plant here, a plant over in that corner, over there, and over there too. We still have a completely open section right here, and another one over on that side, so let's fill them in with some bookshelves. And let's just use the actual bookshelves alongside some chiseled bookshelves for a bit more variety. I got that all filled in, and I think it's looking pretty good, and I can't help myself, so let's add even a bit more glowstone right here at the bottom. Ooh, some scaffolding, thank you. And I think it would also be a good idea to add some ladders, so people can actually reach the books at the very top. And speaking of books, we can use some of the ones that we got earlier to fill in some of the chiseled bookshelves. Just kind of doing it wherever it feels natural, so maybe I'll do like a couple over here, maybe one right there, maybe another one right here too. Maybe this is where they keep the history of the people who lived in this castle. I don't know, it's kind of fun to think about. Anyway, I'm quite pleased with how that turned out, so let's repeat more or less the same design in this section right here. Just placing in a few final books, and with that, this second bookshelf is done. Carrying right along, let's create some braziers using soul sand and oak trapdoors, just like so. And then we can do some flint and steel on top to create the actual fire, and that just creates such a cool vibe. I got 4 of those in place on that side, and they're looking absolutely awesome. Since the whole idea of this treasure room is to store Minecraft's rarest items, we're of course going to need somewhere to, actually store items, so let's add some barrels. Super simple, but I like that. Let's also add a few more over on this side too. And my plan for this side is to store music discs over here, so let's also add some jukeboxes. And then so we can actually display what music discs are going to be inside of each of these barrels, let's do some item frames. However, I will add the actual music discs a little bit later in this video. This section right here is still super empty, so let's use some spruce trapdoors to create some shelves where we can store more treasure. Once again though, gonna add the actual treasure a little bit later. We also have these open sections beside the staircase, so I think this will be a good spot for more shelves too. Yeah, something like that, 3 shelves where we can store more items. I think I'm gonna do that for all of these sections. And there we go, got ourselves a bunch of shelves now. I think besides adding the actual treasure, this upper level is complete, so I want to get started down here, but before we do, there's something super important we gotta take care of. That's right, gotta check in on my cats. If you haven't seen one of my videos before, I am constantly using my 2 cats, Munchie and Mittens, to guilt trip all of you into liking the video. It's a pretty shameless guilt trip, I know, but it goes such a long way in supporting the channel if you can take a quick second to like the video and maybe double check if you're subscribed or not. I really do appreciate all the support, but let's get back to Minecraft. Alrighty, getting started on this lower section of our treasure room, I think the obvious spot to start is with the floor. And for this one, I just want to use dark oak, and to texture it, we can do some dark oak logs and stripped dark oak logs. There we go, pretty happy with that, and just like this upper tier, I left a couple of spots for some rugs. And it's a little bit unconventional, but to build this rug, we're gonna have to start with some water. So let's just quickly get this converted all to water sources. And the reason for doing this is so that we can include some of this fire coral into our rug. Like, come on, you can't tell me that's not the perfect texture for a rug, and since there's water under there, this won't dry out. Anyway, let's use our same trick as before of placing down some torches, and then I'll cover these ones up with some red carpet to blend in perfectly with the fire coral. I absolutely love that as a rug design. Let's repeat the exact same thing over here. So once again, we'll do our water, more of our fire coral, even more torches, and of course, more red carpet. Got ourselves 2 red rugs now, and I think that really helps break up all of this dark oak. There is like a bit of a channel though, kind of going around the perimeter of this room, and I just want to dig it a little bit lower so we can place some glowstone here. Now that this is a bit lower, we can do our actual glowstone, and then to cover up all of this glowstone, let's make use of more of our copper trapdoors. This area is already really shaping up, but just to help break up all of this stone, let's do some spruce pillars. I got a few of those in place and I'm liking how it's looking, so let's add more going all the way around. All of the pillars are in and looking good, and just like we did above, I think let's use more of our gray terracotta to fill in the back of these arches. Pretty straightforward, let's get this all placed in. And my plan for down here is to store all of our armor trims, so let's add some barrels. And on top of each of those, let's do an armor stand. And then so we can display which armor trims go where, let's do an item frame on each of these barrels. I'm going to add the actual armor trims later. For now, let's add some lighting using more of the copper chains and copper lanterns. Maybe one more of these bad boys right here, why not? And let's just keep everything nicely balanced and repeat the same thing over here. The lanterns are in and looking good, and we do have a bit of space on this back wall, so let's add a crafting table and a smithing table. And then we can make this look a little bit more enclosed by doing some spruce trapdoors. There's also quite a bit of open space beside this staircase, so maybe let's add some barrels. And it's always handy to have an ender chest nearby, so let's add one here. I added more barrels on this side too, and it's a little bit unnecessary, but might as well add a second ender chest, you know, why not? I feel like some greenery would take this area to the next level, so let's create another indoor plant. And maybe even some smaller ones using a pot, an azalea, and a leaf on top. I got plants going all the way around now, and that really took this area to the next level. I think we definitely need a railing though, so we're not falling down here on accident, so let's start off with some stripped mangrove wood. And then to make those all a little bit fancier, let's add a trapdoor on the sides of them. And then for the actual railing, let's use more of our shelves. This is already looking so good, but for just one final detail, let's add some lanterns. And in pretty much no time at all, this area for our armor trims has really come together. With that set up though, I think it's about time that we get started on filling up all of these shelves and getting some of the items in place. And we already do have some of the items that I want to display in the shulker boxes, so let's place in what we can and then we'll have to go get the rest of the items. Let's just start with these two shelves right here. On the bottom shelf, let's do a dragon head and 4 of the dried ghasts. And then on the top shelf, we can do 3 of these amethyst clusters and 2 of the medium-sized ones. Yeah, that looks awesome. I am very happy with that. So that side over there is all filled in, and we do have more shelves over on this side too, but this is actually where I want to put some of our mob heads, but I'm still waiting for a thunderstorm so we can actually use our trident and get charged creepers. I guess in the meantime, I'll just do a dragon head and we'll try to get the rest of it filled in later. Moving right along, I want to try displaying every single ore type in the game inside of our treasure room, so I already did grab what I have in storage, but we're definitely gonna have to go out in the world and gather up the rest. Maybe let's start with this shelf over here, so we'll do a full block of lapis, we'll do a lapis ore, and then a deep slate lapis ore. That looks awesome, and if we have that for like every single ore type, it's gonna look super epic. Anyway, on this shelf here, I'll do some netherrack, some of this nether quartz ore, and then I do want to do some of the gold kind of netherrack ore, but I don't have any. We'll get that later though for sure. Let's move on. This shelf here can be for coal, but I am missing the deep slate coal ore. Again, that's another one we'll have to go get. At least for this next one, which is for gold, I'm not missing anything, so we can get this all placed in. And then the shelf below that can be for copper, but once again, I'm missing the deep slate variant. Another one I have everything for is iron, so let's get this placed in. Up here, we can do our nice shiny blue diamonds. And I know they're not ores, but for some reason, I want to put a slime block and a honey block here. I don't know, I feel like it fits in for some reason. Also, I just realized I've been a little inconsistent. Like right here, I used the raw copper, but then here I used the actual gold. So I think I want to get rid of this one and then replace that with the raw gold. Oh man, my gold almost just fell into the fire. That would have been gone. Anyway, I think that looks a little bit better. So let's do the same thing for the iron, get rid of that one, and place in some raw iron. Another item I thought would be fun to display is a conduit, so let's place that right there. Oh yeah, and I also want to do this shelf right here for redstone. I only have a redstone block right now, still gotta grab the ores. And then this empty shelf right here will be for emeralds, but I also gotta grab those too. Still got a bit of work cut out for ourselves, but before we get too carried away with all of that, I want to grab all of our armor trims and all of our music discs and bring them down here. So let's quickly swing by our starter house. As I showed you guys in the intro of this video, all of my goodies are hidden in this barrel right here. I've got a decent amount of stuff though, a bunch of music discs, as well as a bunch of armor trims. And something else I want to grab is our dragon egg, as well as all of my pottery sherds, which I have right in this barrel. Alright, but with that stuff in hand, let's head back to the treasure room. Now that we're here, let's throw our dragon egg right on top of the shelf. I think that'll be a good spot for it. And then we can throw all of our armor trims inside of these item frames. And then any duplicates we can throw in the barrels. Okay, and then this wall right here is going to be for all of our music discs, and I can't lie, I really thought I had more than 3 different music discs, but I guess not. But anyway, we can throw all the extras into here as well, so we'll throw those in there, and then we have an extra one of these, so we'll throw that in there too. Yeah, we still have a lot of these to collect, but once we get this more filled in, it's going to be looking super sweet. Anyway, I want this opposing wall right here to be for our pottery sherds, so let's place these in. There's actually 23 different pottery sherd designs, so we still have a lot to collect, but I do have 3 more that we can quickly craft. So let's head over to our crafting table right here, and then we can do our pottery sherd right there, and then 3 bricks like that, and then, yeah, there we go. We got the, what is this one? The shelter pottery sherd. Let's go. And then we'll do the same thing for the snort pottery sherd, as well as the angler pottery sherd. Let's quickly add these to our collection. I think my favorite out of these is this one right here. I'm pretty sure that's the snort pottery sherd. That one looks super cool. Yeah, that's only 5 out of 23 though, so we still have what, like 17 more of these to collect? That is going to be super fun. And I almost forgot, any extras we can just throw in the barrels. As cool as these armor trims look in the item frames, I do want to display what they actually look like on some armor, so I'm going to grab everything we need to duplicate these trims, as well as grab some actual armor itself, and then I'll be right back. You know what though, there is something I should show you, and that's me breaking down all of this diamond ore, because we're going to need a bunch of diamonds to duplicate all of these trims. So I think let's just go with the classic method of making a giant pillar. This right here is 2 stacks of diamond ore. Let's see how much this gets us. Alright, take your bets now. With Fortune 3, how many diamonds are we going to get from 2 stacks of diamond ore? Just breaking the last few, and I'm pretty curious for myself. Check that out, almost 4.5 stacks of diamonds. That is awesome. We should have everything that we need now, so let's duplicate these trims. For this spire trim, we have to use purple to duplicate it, so let's get ourselves, I guess we need like 4 of them, right? I guess 5, so we have an extra. Okay, next we have the dune trim. I already have 2 of these, so we just gotta make 3 more copies. And to duplicate this one, we gotta use some sandstone. Next up is the eye armor trim, and to duplicate this one, we use endstone. Okay, next we have this rib armor trim. I think I have some extras. Yeah, I have 2 extras. That means we just need 2 more copies, and to duplicate this one, we use netherrack. Okay, just 2 more I have to duplicate. This is the snout armor trim. Do I have any extras? I do not. No worries, let's quickly duplicate this one, and for this one, we use blackstone. Last but not least, we have this bolt armor trim, and to duplicate this one, we gotta use some copper. Just like that, we have 5 copies of each armor trim, so let's put the originals back. And let's also put away the blocks that we can use to duplicate these, just so if we ever want to, make more of these in the future, we can. Okay, but moving along, we're going to need a bunch of armor, and I think I'm just going to keep it simple and use some iron armor. However, I did bring a bunch of different minerals with me, so we can do some different colors. So maybe let's start off with this dune armor trim, and for this one, maybe we can do like a gold highlight. That might look cool. So let's do our helmet, we'll do our chest plate, our leggings, and our boots. Let's throw this right on the armor stand, and we now have our first armor trim on display. Okay, next up is this eye armor trim. For this one, maybe let's do diamonds. So we'll do our helmet again, another chest plate, more leggings, and more boots. Throw that on here too, right beside our dune one. Let's see how that looks. That looks awesome. I like that. Next up is the spire armor trim, and for this one, maybe let's do redstone. I'm excited to see what this one's gonna look like. Come on, let's throw this on here. Oh yeah, wait, actually, I like that. That might be my new favorite. Next up, we have this bolt armor trim, and for this one, let's do some lapis for a nice blue color. Once again, throw this on the armor stand, and that is looking super sweet. I like the kneecaps here. It's just like 1 dot on the kneecap. That is kind of funny. The snout armor trim is up next, and for this one, maybe we can do our amethyst. So let's get ourselves a helmet, a chest plate, leggings, and our boots. I always forget that you can use amethyst for armor trims, but it looks so good. The last trim we have is this rib armor trim, and I kind of want to try doing iron on iron. Let's see how this looks. I've never tried doing iron on iron. Let's see how this looks, and actually pretty good. There we go, we now have all 6 of our armor trims on display, and I could not be happier with that. I'm pretty sure there's 18 armor trims in total though, so we'll continue to get this area more filled out as we find more armor trims in this world. Same goes for all of our music discs, as well as all of our pottery sherds. Instead of getting all of them all in one go though, I think it's going to be a lot more fun to just kind of slowly obtain them as we continue to play in this world, since I plan on playing in this world for a long time. We still have these 3 big open sections over here though, and for these, I want to try filling them in with a bunch of like diamonds and gold and lapis and all of that stuff, but I'm starting to get quite low on a lot of that stuff, so I think it's time to do a bit of a mining session. I maybe got a tad bit carried away during that little montage you just watched, but as you can see, we now have a bunch of new items to work with. And something I'm super happy about is we got 3 brand new music discs. So let's go right ahead and use these to expand our collection. And we still haven't gotten a thunderstorm, which really sucks, but I did grab a couple of wither skeleton skulls that we can use in the meantime. Maybe let's just do one right there and another one right here. I wish I could control the weather, but I can't. It's been like 30 or 40 days, still no thunderstorm, but this looks pretty good at least for now. Anyway, while we were mining, I was able to get a few more ores, so let's add these to our collection. For example, I was able to get a redstone ore and a deep slate redstone ore. As for this empty shelf right here, I want it to be for emeralds, so I did grab an emerald block from our villagers, but we're missing the actual ores still. I don't even know where a mountain is in our world though, so I'm not even sure where to get those from. Anyway, something else I picked up was a block of resin, and I think that'll blend in perfectly with our slime block and honey block. And we were missing the deep slate copper ore, but I was able to pick one of those up, so let's add it to our collection. Sadly, we're still missing the deep slate coal ore, but that's a pretty rare one. I thought it might also be fun to store all of the different weapons in here, so I made a sword, a crossbow, and a regular bow. And let's just add these right inside of these item frames. Eventually, I'd also like to display the mace as well as the spear. As I mentioned, I want to fill in this back section with a bunch of golden stuff, and as you can see, we still have a bunch of it right in here, so let's grab this and then get to filling in those sections. Since this is a treasure room, it makes sense for there to be, actual treasure, plus it's a bit of a flex and looks pretty cool. This looks so sweet, especially right as you come down the stairs, you can just see it perfectly. Oh, I really like this. And you can't see it, but I did add some glowstone actually behind the ores, and yeah, these are not filled in at all, but nobody has to know that. From this side, it looks totally filled in, right? Yeah, maybe a little bit of a cheapskate, but even doing it this way, this still was pretty expensive. And I know some of you might be a little bit disappointed that I'm not getting every single music disc and every single armor trim all in this one video, but I think it's going to be a lot more fun just for my overall enjoyment of playing in this world. If we can continue to just play stuff as we get it, it's going to make adventuring and just kind of collecting stuff a lot more rewarding as we continue to play in this world. But as always, if you want to explore this treasure room for yourself, as well as everything else that I've built in this world, you can get the world download on my Patreon or by joining as a tier 2 member right here on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching, happy building, and I'll see all of you in the next video.